Both Jiang Tingxia and I want to be admitted to Peking University through the direct admission program. During the last mock exam of the first semester of our senior year, she handed me a bottle of water with a smile. I drank it, and then I had excruciating stomach pains in the exam room. I only managed to answer half of the math questions before I had to leave in a hurry. The results of that mock exam directly determined who would receive the direct admission spots. Naturally, she was selected and I was eliminated. My parents didn't blame me for that. They reassured me, saying, "With your abilities, you'll be able to get into a good university through the college entrance exam." But then, a week before the college entrance exam, I accidentally lost my admission ticket, and the process of getting a replacement caused me to miss the Chinese exam. That year, I went to an ordinary university, and she, having been admitted to Peking University in grand style, became the pride of the entire university. At the graduation ceremony, she linked her arm through her childhood friends and smiled gently and gracefully. "Thank you for always being there for me, Chen Lin, the boy who once told me, 'I'll always be on your side.'" Looked at her with a gentle gaze. I stood on the outskirts of the crowd, clutching the shredded pieces of my admission ticket. Jiang Tingxiao's roommate slipped it to me later. There were coffee stains on it, as if someone had stepped on it. For countless late nights after that, I would dream of that math test, half of which was left blank. I dreamed that the proctor was impatiently urging me to turn in my exam. I dreamed that Jiang Tingxia held up that letter of admission in front of me. I thought time would heal everything. It wasn't until our class reunion 10 years later that I overheard Ji Tingxia say to Chen Lin while she was drunk, "Back then, when you handed me that bottle of water, I knew right away that you'd help me. It's just a shame about Lin Lucia could have gotten in." Chen Lin was silent for a few seconds, then said, "She has too strong a personality. That path isn't right for her. Isn't she doing just fine now? She married a decent guy and is living a quiet, stable life in a small city." I stood outside the private room, digging my fingernails into the palm of my hand. It turns out that the regret I'd been dwelling on for 10 years was nothing more than a casual topic of conversation they brought up over drinks. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in the fall of my 16th year. There is 1 month left until the first mock exam that will determine the ranking for direct admission. I slowly sat up and looked at the young face in the mirror. My eyes began to well up. This time, I'm going to stand at the very top so everyone can see my name. The September breeze swept through the classroom hallway, ruffling the corner of the curtain. A countdown was written on the blackboard. There are 273 days left until my senior year of high school. But for us in class 1 of the 11th grade, the real countdown is this. There are 30 days left until our first qualifying exam for direct admission. Lin Lu, what are you daydreaming about? My desk partner, Zhou Zhizhi, tapped my arm with her pen and handed me a math test. "Did you figure out the last problem? Let me see it." I took the test paper, my fingertips trembling slightly. In my previous life, I lost 5 points on this question. It wasn't because I didn't know how to do it, but because Jiang Tingxia pulled me aside half an hour before the exam to ask me about a similar problem. After I finished speaking, my thoughts actually became jumbled. Wait a minute. I gathered my thoughts, looked at the familiar question on the paper, and wrote down the correct answer right away. Zhou Zhizhi's eyes widened. You've already solved it. Isn't this the contest problem the teacher just handed out? I've seen something like that before, I said offhandedly. When did you start secretly engaging in internal competition? She dramatically clutched her chest. Oh no, you're going to leave me behind. I smiled, and my gaze drifted unconsciously to the window seat in the 3rd row. Jiang Tingxia was sitting with her head down, working on her exam. The contours of her profile were soft, and her ponytail was tied high on her head, giving her the appearance of a well-behaved, hard-working student. That pink water cup is always sitting on her desk, with a little daisy sticker on the side. This is what she later wrote in the yearbook. "My favorite flower is the daisy, because it's the only flower that looks so ordinary yet is never overlooked." In my previous life, I never doubted her. We grew up together. lived in the same neighborhood, and attended the same school from kindergarten through high school. Her parents are divorced. And she lives with her mother. She has a quiet and introverted personality. My parents are college professors. And our family is well off. My mom often tells me, Xiaolu, please look out for Tinxia's had it rough. So I treated her like my own sister. I explained problems to her, had meals with her, ran errands for her at the registrar's office, and even let her borrow the study guides my mom had bought for me. Until that bottle of water. Little dear, what are you looking at? The sound suddenly rang in my ears. I suddenly snapped back to my senses. Jiang Tingxia was already standing in front of my desk, holding a stack of test papers in her hands. With a gentle, innocent smile on her face. The math class representative is collecting the tests. Where's yours? Oh, here. I handed her the test paper, my gaze resting on her face. She has fair skin and arched eyebrows. She likes to tilt her head slightly when she speaks, which makes her seem sincere and adorable. By the way, are you free this weekend? Come with me to the bookstore. I want to buy a few practice test books. She tilted her head to look at me. You came in 3rd in your grade last time, but I only came in 10th this time. If I don't work harder, you're going to leave me far behind. Her tone had a hint of playfulness to it. And she paid me just the right amount of flattery. In my past life, I smiled and said, okay. In this life, as I looked into her eyes and saw that thin veil of pretense, I suddenly found it both laughable and pitiful. I'm going to tutoring class this weekend, I said. Jiang Tingxia paused for a moment. The smile on her face froze for an instant, but she quickly regained her composure. Huh, when did you sign up for that tutoring class? How come I didn't know about it? My mom just signed me up. I lowered my gaze, not wanting her to see the emotions in my eyes. It's for getting 1st place in my grade. Oh, okay. She smiled, hugged the test paper to her chest, and turned to walk away. Zhou Zhizhi leaned in and whispered, don't you think Jiang Tingxia's smile just now seemed a little forced? I glanced at Zhou Zhizhi. In my previous life, she sent me a very long message after I failed the college entrance exam. Lin Lu, I can't believe you're really this bad. What on earth happened on the day of your Chinese exam? Unfortunately, at that point, I didn't want to bring it up anymore. GG. Stay away from her from now on. Zhou Zhizhi blinked, didn't ask why, and just nodded vigorously. After school, I walked to the school gate with my backpack on my back. On a bench under a ginkgo tree, a tall, slender boy was idly scrolling through his phone. The zipper on her school uniform was pulled up to her chest, revealing the black hoodie underneath. Her hair was a bit long, covering half her forehead. Chen Lin. In my past life, he used to wait for me like this after school, and then we'd walk home together. On the way, he'd buy me a cup of milk tea, listen to me ramble on about who got what score on the test today, and occasionally chime in with, "You'll definitely do great." I thought that was love. No, that really is love. It's just that he didn't like Lin Lu as a person. Rather, he liked the Lin Lu who had good grades, a good personality, and could make him look good. Later, Jiang Tingxia told me that Chen Lin had confessed his feelings to her during the first semester of their senior year of high school. He said, "You're a better match for me than Lin Lu. She's too domineering, she's not gentle at all." Huh. Let's go, Lin Lu, Chen Lin said, waving me over in a casual tone. I walked over, didn't sit down, but just looked down at him. You don't have to wait for me anymore. He paused for a moment. Why? I signed up for an after-school tutoring class, so I'll go straight there after school, it's out of my way. Chen Lin frowned and stood up. When did you sign up? Why didn't you tell me? Why should I tell you? I asked in return, my tone calm. He choked a little, and his face turned a bit pale. What's been going on with you lately? Are you under too much pressure? I'm telling you, your grades just need to be decent. Don't push yourself too hard. I heard that in my previous life, too. When he said that, I thought he was concerned about me. It wasn't until later that I realized he was afraid I would do too well on the exam and end up too far away from him. Chen Lin ranked outside the top 100 in his grade and was admitted to an ordinary second-tier university. He wanted me to just do it good and all because he didn't want to lose face in front of his girlfriend. I want to go to Peking University, I said. His pupils contracted slightly. Peking University. His voice rose involuntarily. Are you crazy? How often does our school produce even one student who gets into Peking University? Even if you get in, once you're there, you'll be surrounded by people who are better than you want that wear you out. I looked at him and suddenly smiled. Chen Lin. Have you ever considered that I might not have just barely gotten in? But that Peking University might have been clamoring to admit me. My remark left him speechless. His face turned ashen. His lips twitched. But in the end he said nothing and turned away. He took a few steps, then stopped. Without turning around, he said in a muffled voice, Lin Lu, you're not the same as you used to be. That's right. I'm no longer that 16-year-old girl who used to take your words as gospel. For the next month, I ran like a well-oiled machine. I don't remember the specific college entrance exam questions anymore. But for me, the greatest advantage of being reborn isn't my memories. Rather, it's a matter of mindset and study habits. In my previous life, it took me 12 years to realize this. Exams aren't about the number of practice problems you've done, but rather your mastery of the subject matter. I began reorganizing the conceptual frameworks for all my subjects and used mind maps to connect the key exam topics across each subject. 4 conic sections, derivatives, and sequences in math. I've categorized the problem types. For English reading comprehension, I've developed a 3-step method, Lokitianaliziliminate. For the Chinese composition assignment, I prepared 10 sample essay outlines on different topics in advance. During evening study hall, Zhou Zhizhi looked at my notebook, which was covered in dense handwriting, and asked me a soul-searching question. Lin Lu, are you even human? These notes of yours are even more detailed than my mom's skincare routine. She flipped through the notebook over and over. Can I make a copy? Here. Take it. Lucy I. The boy sitting in the front row turned his head and pushed up his glasses. Lin Lu, you've been improving at an unusual rate lately. You got a perfect score on the math quiz last time. You were the only one in the whole class to do so. Lucy I, a regular at the top of his class, is known as a walking question bank. In his previous life, he and Jiang Tingxia were both admitted to Peking University through a special admission program. As for me, I didn't even come close to getting a spot through the direct admission program. So what? I looked at him. Nothing, he said, turning back, his voice flat. Keep it up. I paused for a moment, then smiled. As for Lucy I didn't know him well in my previous life. I just thought he was aloof and hard to get close to. Come to think of it, he just isn't good at making small talk. Jiang Tingxia has also been coming to see me frequently lately. Xiao Lu, I don't know how to solve this math problem. Could you explain it to me? Xiao Lu, can I take a look at your notes? Xiao Lu, want to study together this weekend? Every time I brush them off by saying, I already have plans or find someone else. The smile on her face grew fainter with each passing moment, while the anxiety in her eyes grew deeper. Finally, one day, she stood by my desk for a long time and whispered, Lin Lu, are you mad at me? No, I said without even looking up. Then why haven't you been talking to me lately? Aren't we best friends? I put down my pen, looked up, and gazed at her intently. Her eyes were slightly red. Her eyelashes trembled slightly, and she really looked as if she had been wronged. If I didn't know what she did later, I might actually have had a change of heart. Jiang Tingxia, what do you think makes a true friend? She paused for a moment. It's just helping each other and understanding each other. So do you think a true friend would talk behind your back? Her face went pale in an instant. I didn't. Her voice began to tremble. I didn't say you did. I smiled. Why are you so nervous? She opened her mouth, but finally lowered her head and turned to walk away. Zhou Zhizhi watched with great interest from the sidelines. Only after Jiang Tingxia had walked away did he whisper, "That was brilliant. That move of yours was even more ruthless than just yelling at her. What I want is for her to feel guilty." I lowered my head again and went back to working on the problems. The first placement exam for direct admission arrived as scheduled. The exam rooms were assigned BA. Set on our scores from the last monthly exam. I'm in exam room 3. The top 10 students in my grade were all in exam room 1. But I, who ranked 3rd in my grade, ended up in exam room 3. It's because I was sick and missed one subject on the last monthly exam. Although I did well on the makeup exam, my ranking dropped as a result. But that's exactly why Jiang Tingxia and I weren't in the same exam room. She was in exam room 1, and I was in exam room 3, the night before the exam. Jiang Tingxia came to my house and knocked on the door. She was holding a bottle of water and handed it to me. "Xiao Lu, good luck tomorrow. Here's some mineral water my mom brought back from abroad. She says it helps you focus. I saved a bottle just for you." Exactly the same scene. In my past life. I took it from her, deeply moved, and hugged her, saying, "Tingxia, you're so kind." The next day, I drank half of it in the exam room, then started having stomach pain and diarrhea. So I finished my math exam early. Later, at the hospital, I was diagnosed with mild food poisoning. The doctor asked me what I had eaten, and I said I had just eaten my regular meals and drunk water. I threw that bottle of water away a long time ago. And no one thought to have it tested. In this life, I took the bottle of water and said with a smile, "Thank you, Tingxia." She left, satisfied. After she left, I unscrewed the cap and poured it down the kitchen sink. Then rinse the bottle thoroughly. Fill it with mineral water. Screw the cap on tightly. And place it on the desk. The next day, before entering the exam room, I drank that bottle of water right in front of her and Chenlin. Chenlin stood in the hallway, looking at me with a somewhat complicated expression. But he didn't say anything. Jiang Tingxia took my hand and said, "Xiaolu, you're definitely going to do great on the exam." I smiled but didn't say anything. I entered the exam room, sat down, and took out my writing materials. I quietly took out the water I'd brought from the inner pocket of my backpack and took a couple of sips. I set that bottle of tap water on the corner of the table. And it hasn't been touched since. The first exam was Chinese. I performed as usual. During the second math exam, the moment I received the test paper, my fingers trembled slightly. 80% of the questions on the exam were similar to ones I'd reviewed in this lifetime. After coming back from my rebirth, I thoroughly mastered the exam topics for high school math. Every problem is simply a combination of these concepts. I worked through the problems one by one, a multiples, fill in the blank, and open-ended questions with ease. As the proctor walked past me, he stopped twice, looked down at my test paper, and then nodded slightly. When the bell rang signaling the end of the exam, I put down my pen and let out a long sigh. When I walked out of the exam room, Jiang Tingxia was already waiting at the door. When she saw me come out of the exam room unscathed, her face instantly turned pale. "Xiao Lu, how did you do on the exam?" Her gaze fell on the water bottle in my hand. "Not bad," I said, giving the bottle a shake. "Thanks to your water, I feel really energized." Her smile was a little forced. "That's good." Chenlin walked over, glanced at me, and asked, "Did you do the last problem on the math exam?" "I did it." "How much?" "The answer is 2. His expression changed. "Because he didn't manage to do it." Jiang Tingxia bit her lip and said nothing. I know math has always been her weak point. So she probably didn't solve the last major problem either. In my previous life, she scored 121 on the math exam, while I only got 89 because I missed half the exam. So she ended up beating my total score. In this life, everything has only just begun. The 3 days after the exam are the weekend, and the results won't be released until next week. On Saturday afternoon, as I was sitting at my desk organizing my study plan for the next phase, my phone vibrated. Jiang Tingsha sent a WeChat message. Xiao Lu. Chenlin is treating us to bubble tea today. Are you coming? I was just about to reply with I am not going when I received another message. Chenlin went out of his way to order you a taro pudding from your favorite shop. In my previous life. It was precisely this kind of deliberate gesture that moved me. Back then, I thought Chenlin was really kind to me. He even remembered what I liked to drink. But later I found out that he had ordered breakfast delivery for Jiang Tingsha every single day for 3 months. Without missing a single day. I typed 2 characters. I'm not going. Then I turned off my phone and opened my English reading book. At 6:00 p.m. My mom knocked on the door and came in. Xiaolu. Xia came by to look for you. I walked into the living room and saw Jiang Tingsha sitting on the sofa, holding a cup of milk tea, with a gentle smile on her face. Xiaolu, why aren't you coming? Chenlin said he won't drink if you don't come. And it'll be pretty boring for the 2 of us. She handed me the milk tea. I brought this back for you. I took the milk tea, but didn't drink it. I set it down on the coffee table. Listen, Xia. Chenlin and I aren't dating. She paused for a moment. I know. But you guys. I interrupted her. So, you don't have to come to me in his name every time. Her expression froze. I didn't. Her voice grew quieter. I just thought you 2 were close. So I figured it would be more fun if you came along and we all hung out together. I leaned back on the couch and looked into her eyes. Then let me ask you this. Do you like Chenlin? The air suddenly grew still. My mom was carrying a plate of fruit out of the kitchen. When she heard that, she paused for a moment, then set the plate down as if nothing had happened and went back into the kitchen. Jiang Tingsha's face flushed red and then turned pale. Her lips trembled for a long time before she finally managed to squeeze out a sentence. You. Why do you think that? I know Chenlin likes you. I said in a flat tone. I don't know who he likes. And I don't care who he likes. I just think that if you like him, you should just tell him directly. You don't have to drag me into it as an excuse every time. She jumped to her feet, her eyes reddening. Lin Lu, that's way too harsh. When have I ever used you as an excuse? I came all the way here to bring you some milk tea out of the goodness of my heart. And this is how you feel about me. As I watched her tears, I felt not the slightest stir in my heart. In her past life, her tears deceived me countless times. If that's not what you meant, then I was overthinking it. I'm sorry. I stood up and handed the milk tea back to her. You can have this one. I still have some exams to grade. She took the milk tea, stood there for a few seconds, then walked away without looking back. My mom poked her head out of the kitchen. What's going on? Are you guys fighting? It's okay, Mom, I said with a smile. She's just a little confused. It'll blow over in a few days. On Monday, the grades will be released. During morning study hall, our homeroom teacher, Mr.Li, walked into the classroom holding the report cards. A subtle expression on his face. He cleared his throat. Our class did really well on this placement exam for direct admission. 6 of the top 10 students in the grade are from our class. There was a commotion in the classroom. Top of the class. Teacher Li's gaze swept across the class room and finally settled on me. Lin Lu, your total score is 698. The whole class went wild. Zhou Zhizhi let out a shriek. Lin Lu, are you crazy? 698. My heart was racing. But I managed to keep a calm expression. This score was more than 10 points higher than the score Jiang Tingsha had achieved in her previous life to secure a spot through early admission. Second in the grade, Liu Xingzhou from Class 1. 689. Third in the grade. Teacher Li paused for a moment. It's still someone from our class. Liu Ci. 687. Liu Ci turned and glanced at me. There was surprise in his eyes. But more than that, there was approval. He gave a slight nod, then turned back. Fourth in the grade. From Class 1, Teacher Li continued reading the roll call. I noticed the look on Jiang Tingsha's face. She was sitting in the 3rd row. And from the moment Teacher Li read out 698, her back went stiff, and the pen in her hand hadn't moved at all. After the report cards were handed out, I took a look at her grades. Ranked 17th in my grade, with a total score of 641. She scored nearly 30 points lower than she did during the same period in her previous life. The reason is simple. In this life, she no longer had Lin Lu to explain problems to her, lend her notes, and help her highlight key points. After school, Jiang Tingxia ran after him down the hallway. Lin Lu. Her voice was choked with tears. I stopped in my tracks and turned around. She was standing at the other end of the hallway. The setting sun cast a long shadow behind her. Her eyes were red and her nose was red too. She looked absolutely pitiful. Did you do that on purpose? Her voice trembled. You deliberately didn't explain the problems to me, deliberately wouldn't lend me your notes, and deliberately made me fail the exam. Are you trying to make sure I don't get accepted through the direct admission program? A few students in the hallway stopped and looked at us. Why would I want to prevent you from getting into college through early admission? I asked in return. Tears welled up in her eyes. Because you want to get into college through direct admission. We're good friends, how can you be so selfish? The whispering around them grew louder. I walked up to her. Jiang Tingxia, the notes I've taken, the outlines I've organized, and every problem I've solved, all of them are the result of my own time and effort. I'm under no obligation to share this with anyone. If you want to do well on the exam, you should work hard on your own instead of expecting others to hand you ready-made results. She froze. There's something else, I said, lowering my voice so only she could hear. I didn't drink that bottle of water you gave me. Her pupils suddenly dilated, and her face turned pale in an instant. What? What do you mean? Her voice was trembling. What do you think I mean? I looked at her and said, word for word, Jiang Tingxia, what goes around comes around. I turned and walked away. She stood there, dumbfounded. Over the next week, Jiang Tingxia took 3 days of sick leave. Chen Lin must have found out about my conversation with Jiang Tingxia somehow, and he cornered me at the school gate after school. Lin Lu, what did you say to Tingxia? She's been crying for days. His tone wasn't very pleasant. I just didn't drink that bottle of water, I said. What kind of water? He asked, frowning. Ask her. Chen Lin's expression changed slightly, but he quickly resumed that I am looking out for you. Look, Lin Lu, you used to be much kinder to people. I looked at him with a half smile. What was I like back then? You used to be so gentle and kind, and you used to be considerate of others' feelings. As he spoke, he gave me a disappointed look inside. All you care about right now are your grades and Peking University. Don't you think you're missing out on something more important? I looked at his face and suddenly found it very funny. Chen Lin, I have a question for you. What? If I hadn't scored 698 but still came in third in my grade, would you think I've changed? He opened his mouth but didn't say anything. You won't, I answered for him, since I didn't do well on the test. You won't think I'm too assertive or that I only care about grades. You'll see that I'm still that little girl who needs your comfort. His expression gradually grew stiff. But Chen Lin, I don't want to be that little girl who needs others to comfort her anymore. I looked at him, my tone calm. I want to be the one others chase after. His Adam's apple bobbed up and down. But in the end he said nothing and turned to walk away. Something unexpected happened right before the midterm exams. Lucy came up to me and handed me a USB drive. These are the physics competition notes I've put together. Would you like to take a look? The provincial competition is next April, and winning first prize can earn you extra points toward direct admission. I took the USB drive, a little surprised. Why are you giving this to me? You only scored a 92 on your last physics test. You lost points on the lab questions. If you can improve your physics score by 5 points, you'll be even more likely to come in first in your grade. His tone was a bit stiff, yet it betrayed a hint of concern. I laughed. You want me to stay at the top of the class so you'll have someone to catch up to. His pointed ears flushed slightly, but his expression remained stern. You're reading too much into it. Thanks. I put the USB drive away. I'll take a look. It wasn't until later that I realized Lucy I never lent out his physics notes. Zhou Zhizhi told me that Lucy's desk partner had been asking him for his notes for half a month. But he never gave them to him. Lin Lu, why do you think he singled you out? Zhou Zhizhi asked with a gossipy look on her face. Because he thinks I'm worthy, I said honestly. Zhou Zhizhi rolled her eyes. I just don't get the world of you high achievers. In the midterm exams, I once again took first place in my grade with a score of 692. Jiang Tingxia scored 639 and ranked 21st in her grade. Her condition has visibly deteriorated. I zone out in class, rest my head on the desk after class, and the dark circles under my eyes are getting darker and darker. The homeroom teacher spoke with her twice. I overheard her talking to another girl in the bathroom. Tingxia, what's going on with you lately? Weren't you in the top 10 in your grade before? Jiang Tingxia's voice sounded muffled and nasal. I'm fine, I've just been having trouble sleeping lately. Is it because of Lin Lu? Look at her, she's like a completely different person now. And she doesn't even play with you anymore. There was a few seconds of silence. Jiang Tingxia said, It's not because of her. It's because I didn't try hard enough. As I stood in the cubicle, listening to those words, I felt a mix of emotions. Actually, Jiang Tingxia wasn't weak in her previous life. She simply took a shortcut at a critical moment. I looked it up later and found out that the bottle of water contained a mild laxative. It is not fatal, but it can cause gastrointestinal discomfort for several hours. She didn't know where she got it from, but she must have hesitated. But in the end, she handed me the bottle of water anyway. Just as I pushed the door open, Jiang Tingxia happened to turn away from the sink. They looked into each other's eyes. When she saw it was me, her expression turned grim in an instant. Lin Lu, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I looked at her, too. If you really want to know where you're falling short, my notes are with Zhou Zhizhi, you can borrow them. She froze. I continued, but I won't be holding your hand anymore. There are some paths you have to walk on your own. After saying that, I washed my hands and left. In late November, the results of the first round of screening for direct admission eligibility were announced. Only 3 students from the entire school made it into the top tier. Me, Lu Ci, and Lu Xingzhou from Class 1. Jiang Tingxia ranked 9th and didn't even make the shortlist. That night, Jiang Tingxia's mother called my mother. Lin Lu's mom, our daughter Tingxia hasn't been doing well lately. Could you ask Lin Lu to give her some extra support? Aren't they good friends? My mom glanced at me and spoke into the phone. Mom Shin, let the kids handle this themselves. Xiao Lu has been busy lately preparing for a competition, so she really doesn't have time. After I hung up the phone, my mom asked me, Xiao Lu, what's going on between you and Tingxia? Weren't you two getting along just fine before? I sat on the couch and was silent for a moment. Mom, if one day you found out that your best friend was actually backstabbing you, would you still be friends with her? My mom's expression changed. She hurt you, Mom. It's okay. I dodged it. My mom didn't press me for details. She just held my hand and said, whatever you decide, I'll support you. At that moment, my eyes began to well up. In my previous life, after I failed the college entrance exam, my mother's hair turned white overnight. She never blamed me. She just blamed herself for not being there for me. In this life, I won't let her be sad because of me again. In December, registration for the provincial physics competition opens. Lu Ci signed up. I signed up. And Lu Xingzhou signed up too. Jiang Tingxia did not sign up. Her physics grades aren't good enough. Chen Lin ran into me in the hallway and seemed to want to say something but held back. What do you want to say? I spoke first. He said, Tingxia has lost a lot of weight recently. Could you talk to her? After all, you two used to be so close. Aren't you on good terms with her, too? Why don't you talk to her? Chen Lin was at a loss for words. Me and her. His voice trailed off. Me and her don't have anything to talk about. Then don't meddle in our business. I turned and walked away. After taking a few steps, I stopped again. without looking back, and said something. Chen Lin. If you really care about her, don't mention her in front of me. It's your choice who you're with. His breathing had clearly become heavier. I know he'll end up with Jiang Tingsha sooner or later. In their previous life, they went public with their relationship at the start of their senior year of high school. In this life, I have no interest in being their catalyst, nor do I want to be their scapegoat. The provincial physics competition is in April. From then until winter break, I devoted most of my energy to preparing for the competition. Liu Xi gave me all his notes and practice problems, and we often stayed in the classroom after school to discuss the problems. Once, we were arguing over a problem on electromagnetic induction until 8:00 p.m. when the security guard came to lock up and finally kicked us out. Under the streetlight at the school gate, Liu Xi pushed up his glasses and said, "Your line of reasoning just now was right. I overcomplicated things at first. So you admit I'm good," I said, smiling at him. "I'm just acknowledging that your approach to this problem is more concise than mine." He corrected her with a straight face. "All right," I said, tightening the straps of my backpack. "See you tomorrow." "Lin Lu," he called out to me. I turned around. Under the streetlight, his expression seemed a little awkward, and he hesitated for a moment before saying, "Have you been under a lot of stress lately?" I paused for a moment. "Why do you ask? You didn't eat lunch, you just drank milk. Your dark circles are worse than they were during midterms." He paused for a moment. "Competition is important, but your health is more important." I didn't expect him to notice those things. "I understand. Thank you." He nodded, turned, and walked away quickly. His ears looked red in the light of the street lamp. When Zhou Zhizhi later found out about this, she was so upset that she slammed her fist on the table in the cafeteria. Liu Xi. That Liu Xi. He actually cares about people. "Lin Lu, are you starting to date someone? Eat your dinner." I shoved a chicken drumstick into her mouth. After winter break, the results of the provincial competition were announced. I won first prize. Liu Xi also won first prize, and Liu Xingzhou won second prize. The bonus points for direct admission are a sure thing. When the news reached the classroom, Jiang Tingsha was working on her math test. She heard her classmates congratulating her. Her pen paused for a moment. Then she continued writing, her knuckles turning white. After school, she came to find me. This time, she didn't cry, nor did she show any sign of weakness. Her eyes were red, but her expression was calm. "Lin Lu, you won," she said. "It's not a matter of winning or losing. Not for you, but for me." Her voice was a little hoarse. "Do you have any idea how hard I've been working? Even when you weren't around, I was studying like crazy." "But," she bit her lip, "but I realize I'll never be able to catch up to you." As I looked at her, I suddenly remembered my previous life, how I had stood there in the hallway just like this after failing the entrance exam, watching her walk away. At that time, I was thinking, why can you do it? But I can't. Jiang Tingsha. The reason you can't catch up to me isn't because I won't help you. It's because you're focusing your energy in the wrong place. She looked up. I looked into her eyes. Instead of wasting time thinking about how to make others fail the exam, you should think about how to do well on it yourself. Her lips trembled slightly, but in the end she said nothing. I turned and walked away. After walking a long way, I heard muffled sobbing coming from behind me. The new school year began for the senior class, and students were assigned to their classes. Liu Xi, Liu Xingzhou, and I were all assigned to the honors class. Jiang Tingsha fell 2 points short and remained in the regular class. Chen Lin's ranking dropped to well outside the top 200, placing him in the last class. On the day we moved classrooms, I saw Chen Lin and Jiang Tingsha standing together in the hallway. Jiang Tingsha kept her head down, while Chen Lin rested his hand on her shoulder and leaned in to say something. Jiang Tingsha looked up, saw me, and instinctively ducked a little behind Chen Lin. Chen Lin saw me too, and a hint of unease flashed across his face. I nodded at them, then went back to carrying the books. Zhou Zhizhi followed behind me and whispered. I've suspected something was off between them for a while now. Last month, I even saw Chenlin bring Jiang Tingsha breakfast. Guess what he brought her? What? Taro puffs. It's the same place I used to buy them for you. I laughed. Aren't you mad? Zhou Zhizhi looked at me in surprise. Why should I be upset? I stacked the books neatly. It's not like I like him anyway. Really? Really? Zhou Zhizhi stared at me for 3 seconds, then let out a meaningful "Oh, so you like the kind of guy who wears glasses, gets good grades, and blushes when he talks. If you keep talking nonsense, I'll burn your notes." I was wrong. At the end of October, the list of students admitted through the recommendation program was finalized. Peking University offered 1 spot, and Tsinghua University offered 1 spot. Based on the rankings, I can choose Peking University. On the day I filled out my college application, Lucy stood next to me and watched as I checked the box for Peking University. He asked, "Aren't you considering Tsinghua University?" "Not an option," I said bluntly. "Why?" "Because Peking University's physics department is ranked #1 in the country." He was silent for 2 seconds, then said, "I'm applying to Peking University, too. Didn't you want to study computer science?" "The computer science department is also at Peking University." I looked up at him. His ears were red again, but this time he didn't look away. He said, "Lin Lu, once we get to Peking University, will we still be able to discuss physics problems together?" People were coming and going all around me, and the hallway was noisy, but I felt a sense of calm in that moment. "Sure," I said. He smiled. That was the first time I saw Lucy smile, a sincere smile with a twinkle in their eyes. At the end of December, students admitted through the recommendation program left campus early. Jiang Tingsha came over while I was packing up. She had lost a lot of weight. She looked as if a gust of wind could blow her over. "Lin Lu, I want to apologize to you." She stood at the classroom door but didn't come in. I put down the book I was holding and looked at her. She seemed to find it hard to speak. She took several deep breaths before finally speaking. "That bottle of water I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. I was just so scared that you'd do better on the exam than I did. And that if you got accepted through early admission, I wouldn't have a chance. Do you know that what's in that bottle of water can give you diarrhea?" I asked. "I know." I just lost my head for a moment. She looked up, her face streaked with tears. "Did you know all along?" I said. "I didn't know that back then. I learned about it from much earlier." She didn't understand what that meant, but she didn't ask for clarification. "I'm sorry," she said. I didn't say, "It's okay," because that pain was real, and the 10 years I spent dwelling on it were real, too, but I didn't say, "I won't forgive you," either. I just said, "Jiang Tingsha, you can get into college. Do your best on the exam." She nodded through her tears and turned to leave. "This is the last time we'll speak alone in this lifetime." The night after the college entrance exams ended, our class had a dinner party. Zhou Zhizhi and I were sitting together, with Lucy on my other side. Chenlin didn't show up, and neither did Jiang Tingsha. Some classmates mentioned the two of them. "Did you guys know? Chenlin and Jiang Tingsha are dating." I heard Jiang Tingsha did pretty well on her college entrance exams. As for Chenlin, I guess he'll end up at a vocational college. "Lin Lu, weren't you and Chenlin on good terms before? What's going on with him?" Before I could say anything, Lucy spoke up first. "That was a long time ago." Zhou Zhizhi chimed in from the side. "Hey, Lucy, are you covering for Lin Lu?" Lucy remained unflappable. "I'm just stating the facts." I smiled and took a sip of juice. The meal went on for a long time. Everyone sang, drank, and cried together. Lucy and I left early. As we walked along the tree-lined path on campus, the streetlights cast our shadows far into the distance. He suddenly stopped. "Lin Lu, there's something I want to ask you." "What?" "Did you have a really long dream?" My heart skipped a beat. "Why do you ask?" He looked at me intently. Because you distanced yourself from Xintingxia and Qinlin overnight. And you approach every exam as if your whole future depended on it. I opened my mouth, not knowing what to say. He continued. You don't have to tell me. I just want to say one thing to you. No matter what you've been through, this time, I'll always be here for you. The night breeze blew, ruffling the hair on his forehead. It suddenly occurred to me that the greatest significance of being reborn isn't revenge. Nor is it making a comeback. Instead, it gave me the chance to meet people who are truly worth it. Lucy I. Once we get to Peking University, let's both win the national scholarship. He smiled and said, okay. In mid-August, the acceptance letter arrived. A Peking University enveloped, with gold foil lettering. My mom cried as she held the acceptance letter. My dad pretended to read the newspaper, but his hands kept shaking. I stood on the balcony, holding my acceptance letter, and gazed out at the city in the distance. That fall, when I was 16, I was reborn. Back then, I thought to myself, this time, I'm going to live my life differently. Now, at 18, I've done it. What happened afterward wasn't actually as dramatic as it is in the novel. Lucy and I went to Peking University together. He studied computer science, and I studied physics. We both received the national scholarship. We used to discuss mind-boggling problems together in the library late at night. We were also spotted by a classmate while taking a walk together by Weiming Lake. We didn't date during college. Lucy said. Let's talk about it after we've both earned our doctorates. I teased him. Aren't you afraid that dating will get in the way of publishing your papers? His ears were so red they looked like they might bleed. But he said, no, it's because I'm not ready yet. During my senior year, I received a full tuition PhD offer from Stanford. Lucy received an offer from MIT. Before leaving, he stood in the departure hall at Beijing Capital International Airport and looked at me. He said, Lin Lu, am I in your dreams? I thought about it for a moment. In my previous life, Lucy and I had almost no interaction. He was just the top student in our grade, and I was third. Between us stood Jiang Tingxi and an entire youth. I shook my head. No. So this time, you're a surprise. He walked over and gently tapped my forehead. This time, I won't let the surprise turn into regret. I looked at him and suddenly felt my eyes start to burn. Lucy wait for me to come back. I'll wait for you. 7 years later, at our class reunion, I returned to China. After earning his Ph.D. and publishing a paper on quantum materials in Nature, he was appointed as an associate professor at a university in China. The reunion will be held in our old high school auditorium. When I pushed the door open and walked in, Zhou Zhizhi was the first to rush over and hug me. Lin Lu, you've lost weight. Are you not eating properly in the U.S.? I ate a lot. Lucy stood among the crowd, wearing a dark gray trench coat. He was a little taller than before and seemed more composed. When he saw me, his gaze lingered for a moment, and then he smiled slightly. Lucy how many papers have you published? I walked over. Not as much as you. He said. Then why aren't you trying harder? I'm already trying my best. He said. His gaze fixed on my face. I'm trying my best to catch up to you. We laughed. Just like we used to. During the meal, someone brought up Jiang Tingxia and Qinlin. Jiang Tingxiash ended up getting into a regular university and majored in accounting. After graduation, she returned to her hometown and works as an accountant at a company in the county seat. Qinlin. I heard he broke up with her. Apparently, it was because Qinlin's family thought Jiang Tingxia wasn't a good enough match. What about Qinlin? Qinlin went south to find work and later married a local girl. He seems to be getting by. No one talks about them much anymore. The people and events that once filled our youth with such passion and excitement eventually become nothing more than a few casual remarks shared over dinner. Oh. NLY this time. I'm no longer the heartbroken person hiding behind the rockery. After the class reunion, Lucy and I stood at the school gate. The ginkgo tree is still there, It's grown a whole circle thicker than before. Lu, do you remember what you told me back in high school? I asked. I've said a lot of things. You said that once we get to Peking University, we'll both win the national scholarship. We got it. You said you'd wait for me to come back. I'm back. He looked at me with a gaze so gentle that it was hard to believe it was the same person who used to explain problems with a stern expression. Then let me say one more thing. He took a small box out of his pocket. This time, can we not wait another 10 years? Inside the box was a ringa simple one, with no diamonds. Just a thin engraved line that looked like a symbol from a physics formula. Is this the Schrödinger equation? I recognized the engraving. His ears turned red again. Well, because every second I wait for you, I'm in a superposition of Yuri willing and Yuri not yet willing. I smiled, and my eyes welled up. I. That confession of yours was really literal. So, are you willing to do that? I reached out my hand. I'm willing. Many years later, I became a professor in the physics department, teaching quantum mechanics to class after class of students from the lectern. During one recess, a girl asked me, "Teacher Lin, did you want to be a physicist when you were a kid?" I thought for a moment and said, "When I was a kid, all I wanted was to get into Peking University." Then I realized that getting accepted wasn't the end of the story. Then what is the end? I looked out the window. The ginkgo leaves were turning yellow, and the sunlight was just right. There's no finish line, I said. Every step is a new beginning. There was a sparkle in the girl's eyes. Just like when I was 16. I wrote the last sentence of the day on the blackboard. Don't let others define your life. You should be the one to write your name at the very top. The bell rang to signal the end of class. I walked out of the classroom. In the hallway, I was leaning against the wall, waiting, with a cup of taro pudding in his hand. "Are you still drinking that?" I asked, smiling at him. "I bought this for you," he said, handing it to me, "to celebrate your promotion to professor." I took the milk tea, took a sip, and found it very sweet. The sunlight fell on us, and our shadows gathered close together.